When I was in elementary school, I had to go to this thing called Banana Splits. It was like when they took all the kids with divorced parents, they'd pull them out.
So my dad is dead, and this reminds me of middle school and high school when they had a similar club that was led by a therapist that I'm not confident was fully trained in this, where they would take all the kids who had like dead relatives, usually parents but not always, and we'll get into it, and I'm convinced it did way more harm than it ever did good. Because it was obviously people who hadn't died of natural causes, and I still lay awake thinking about some of the stories I had to hear in that club. And I need to talk about it today. First of all, funniest group of kids you've ever met in your life, okay? The trauma bonding that happened, the laughs we had, very real. However, every time a new kid joined the club, which happened like a couple times a year, because it was a very large school, and statistically, these things happen. But when someone joined, we would have to all go around the circle and individually recount the story of how our loved one passed away, in as much or little detail as we wanted. And now I got out easy because my father passed away of a brutal cancer that slowly took him in front of our eyes. Overall, not that deeply scarring of a story, but some of these kids, I just don't think we should have been making them tell these stories over and over again. And then on top of that, it was like in the middle of the school day, so then the bell would ring and we would all just have to go back to class and pretend we didn't just experience all of that and process it. But the final straw that eventually led to me asking if I can opt out of the group in high school was there was a senior girl whose brother was a freshman who decided that she no longer wanted to attend this planet, for lack of a better term. So literally like 2 weeks after it happened, they pulled this kid out and they made him join this group. And respectfully, I'm not going to share the details, but it was like dark. It was a dark story. And obviously, like, this kid was not ready for this. And it was really rough to listen to. He took up like the whole meeting period. And like everyone was just feeling it as he was telling the story, and was clearly still in that space where like he was blaming himself, right, for not doing enough and not seeing all of the signs. Which was just, it was hard for everyone in the room. I can't imagine how it was for him, obviously. And on top of all of that, he was the one who had to go, and he found her the next morning before his parents did. And the tale was gruesome, and I'm not gonna lie, there were stories in that group over the years that were even more dark than that. But just given the freshness of the stories and the emotions, like the teacher had to let us all sit and write us passes to the next class to show up late so we could all just like process what we heard. And at a certain point, I just kind of established and realized that this group is really just like holding me in the past in this event, and I need to like move forward and stop discussing this all the time constantly. And like on the off days, all we would do is like color in coloring sheets and like use it to blow off class. And so I just don't really know how much it was helping, but the school's heart was in the right place.